Hello again, I am Blunty. That thing over there, well, I'm thinking about calling that a veggie rube derp. And that, well, that's a fucking pineapple that moves like a bunny rabbit, so pine-rabbit? This, of course, is No Man's Sky, and yesterday, PC launch day, I dug out 19 hours straight to play it. Partly because it's actually pretty absorbing as a game, partly because I'm travelling a lot right now and very busy, so I may not even get another bash at playing it for at least a week or more. But anyway, first I need to rant a bit, then I'm going to tell you what I think of the gameplay itself. Now, after years of Hello Games and the game's creator, Sean Murray, building hype by being an annoyingly smug, smirking git and remaining infuriatingly vague about what the game is, what you do, how you play, and ever since he started sucking Sony dick for more money and to make it a PS4 console exclusive, saying sweet bugger all about the PC version of the game. But here it is, No Man's Sky on PC. Now, a lot of people out there are having a lot of issues with the game, PC gamers especially. For some, it won't even start. For some, it crashes constantly. For some, they're getting frame rates so ridiculously low the game's about as fun as a bag of smashed baboon arsehole soaked in goat vomit slapped around your face. For some, like me, it actually runs okay. At least it did after an hour or two of stuttering and hitching like crazy. It did seem to settle down after that and mostly behave itself. The interface is still retarded by what they had to do to make it work on a console, where keyboard and mouse is an option. The UI is far too big for PC players sitting in front of a screen compared to couch gamers on PS4, where all the text and stuff needs to be big so you can actually read it. And the mouse and keyboard controls are, well, they're okay-ish, except for, again, a concession made for console gamers. You have to hold down the mouse button on every fucking action in the UI instead of just clicking it, like in almost every other fucking game and application out there. I played for 19 hours and I'm still not used to having to hold down the mouse button to make it do something. Inventory management and feeding items into the various bits of equipment you have to recharge or repair is a massive pain in the ass. It is slow, it is clumsy, it is annoying, you can't organize anything properly. And again, it's all been retarded by Sean Murray sucking Sony cock and leaving the PC version as the afterthought. And yeah, I know, I sound like one of those PC Master Race douche hats right now, but let's be clear about it. I love my PS4, I think it's brilliant, it's great, but this is absolutely one of those games that has very clearly, very obviously been held back, retarded, and hamstrung for the sake of making it work on the comparatively restricted PS4 hardware. Hardware which is, by the way, already on the very cusp of being replaced by a much more powerful version anyway. That would be the Neo for those of you not paying attention. And that is a business decision Sean Murray and Hello Games made. Maybe all that Sony money helped them make the game bigger and better and be truer to their original vision and all that kind of stuff, and that is a legitimate business decision to make. It is, however, anti-consumer. Good for Hello Games, bad for the players. And just because it was a good business decision, that doesn't mean PC games aren't suddenly allowed not to piss and whine about getting shafted on the quality of our experience at the expense of that business decision. The PC's release date slipped further away from the PS4's twice, and all this was after Sean Murray made such a big deal about people who played pre-release copies they somehow got, ruining it for everybody else. He begged people not to look at that pre-release stuff. Well, what about all the PS4 players ruining shit for PC gamers who weren't even allowed to play it yet? You fucking hypocrite, Sean Murray. And Sean Murray himself basically just admitted that the game is deliberately visually stunted because he had to make it work for PS4 as a priority. Seriously, read between the lines on this quote. He can't say it directly because he's under contract with Sony and he can only say certain things about the PC version. But basically that's what he's saying. He's saying because the PS4 had to be the priority, it doesn't look as good as it should. PC players didn't even get so much as a preload on Steam so they could actually play it when the release dropped. And just days before PC launch, Sean Murray was tweeting about still working on very basic stuff for the PC version, like ultra-wide screen resolution support. Haven't you worked on that before now? In fact, PC development took such a backseat they didn't even have an ultra-wide screen in the office. And less than 2 days away from launch, OpenGL driver compatibility was still an issue. That's a bit late in the game to be fiddling with that, isn't it? The game on PC boots by default into a windowed mode and locked at 30 frames per second, for fuck's sake. Who made that decision? Who in the Hello Games office going, you know what should our default options be for booting on PC? Windowed mode and locked to 30 frames per second? Yeah, sure, PC gamers like that. Yeah, they'll be ecstatic about that. Fucking retards! The graphics options are stunted, to say the least. Even anti-aliasing only gets the barest, most absolute basic option, again, because they had to make it for PS4, and the PS4 just can't do the good anti-aliasing tricks you can do on a PC. But at least you can actually unlock that lock frame rate, and we do get independent controls for the field of view for both first person and in-ship flight, so that's a start. I can only imagine the apoplectic reaction from PC players if we were forced to use the unbelievably shitty narrow field of view those poor PS4 players are saddled with. Deep breath now. Now, all that said, however, those technical and business decision things out of the way, No Man's Sky is actually exactly what I thought it would be, and what I wanted it to be. And I got lucky. For me, it's been running okay on my PC. I've hit only a few bugs and glitches, and had to close and restart the game a couple of times to clear them up. And sometimes, when I'm taking off from a planet's surface to fly somewhere else nearby on that same planet, it'll suddenly shoot me like a fucking supersonic bullet into high orbit almost instantly, and I'm talking like a quarter of a second, so I lose completely my place on the planet. I have no idea where I just came from, or how to get back there, and where to find the place I was looking at on the horizon next. Yeah, fuck you, basically. So that's annoying. But on the game mechanics itself, you'll hear some people call it Minecraft in space, and that's stupid. It's really stupid, actually, because it is just not Minecraft in space, and I can say this having played quite a lot of Minecraft. But it does do what Minecraft does to me. It doesn't do it in the same way, but what it does is absorb me into it. Hours can pass by, and I barely notice. I'm just sort of tinkering around in it. I'm exploring new and interesting lands, hunting out wildlife to scan, occasionally defending myself against hostile carnivores or sentinel robots who get super pissy at you if you destroy too much of the natural flora and fauna on a planet, or on some planets they just kick your teeth in just for being there at all. Sometimes I get attacked by small swarms of space pirates trying to steal my shit. Sometimes I trade in materials I've collected on Mind for currency in order to buy other things that I need to fuel or craft up upgrades to my environmental suit, or my mining laser, my gun, or my ship, or whatnot. I could even buy a whole new ship if and when I find one I like more than my pretty obviously X-Wing inspired pre-order bonus ship. I wander around trying to discover ancient monuments and ruins to learn more about the overarching lore of the universe I'm in, or to learn more about the 3 different alien races I've met so far. I learn little bits of their languages and the history to help in negotiations and basic puzzle-solving tasks. I find beacons to help me locate other, more interesting resources or buildings, and crashed ships to either repair or loot. And when you die, even in space, you get a little gravestone you can go back to, so you can collect all the precious materials you died with. So that's nice too. And it's only like Minecraft insofar as you collect materials, yes, sometimes by mining, to craft things that you need. And it's like Minecraft in that you can play it however you like, pretty much. Do you just want to explore? Do that. Just want to find rare materials? Do that. Want to arm up and get super aggressive for battle and fights? Do that. Do you want to be a space pirate and raid convoy ships for their materials? You can do that. Want to be a space archaeologist and learn about the ancient histories of the races that live here? Do that. Do you want to be a humble trader, finding the best deals and exchanges to get what you need? Do that. Or you can do any combination of those in whatever mixed ratio you like. Personally, I've settled into a moderately passive approach, mining what I need, harvesting what I can't mine, trading rare items for extra bank to buy what I can't collect fast enough to craft what I'm trying to do next. I'm learning the best approaches to deal with the various races, treating them kindly and helping wherever I can. I only ever really enter battle when I need to defend myself, and only then when I can't really escape easily. With the exception of the Sentinels, that is. Sometimes I'll pick a fight with those bastards because they've got brain chips inside that I need sometimes to make stuff. And sometimes I just have to kick their faces in because I have to harvest too much plant life nearby. On one planet, they basically got so pissed at me, they outlawed me, attacking me on site every single time. Didn't even bother scanning, they just show up and start shooting, whether or not I was doing any harm to the environment or breaking into a facility at the time. I've focused on expanding my suit's pocket room because I hate the fiddly inventory management. So the more stuff I can carry at once without having to shift things about and craft them and move them and sell them, the happier I am. And I've made sure to collect blueprints for environmental shields so I can survive well on hostile planets with baking heat or frigid temperatures or toxic atmospheres or just plain old saturating radiation. I think it's the Trekkie in me, actually. I think I'm playing my character a bit like a Tom Paris type. He'll stick to the Federation rules and uphold the values, sure, until a point, but sometimes you just have to be Captain Proton. Boom! Deep cut nerd reference. Now, Sean Murray has made some Peter Molyneux-like promises with No Man's Sky, and like Peter, what is delivered is far less than what we were led to believe we were getting. Animal life, for example, there's actually surprisingly little variation in my experience so far. Most big life is either a bit like a dinosaur or a bit like a horse or a dog, sometimes with wings stapled on the side. I saw a few jellyfish-like critters and even a magnificent flying eel thing at one point, but the variety is all surprisingly small variations on a very basic design blueprint. The same is true of plant life, although there is a bit more variety here. But both plants and animals all start feeling quite familiar after about the dozenth planet. I haven't got much into the story, but maybe the story goes something like, the Atlas people created this place and they seeded it with life, so all life has a common beginning, kind of like how they explained in Star Trek how all the aliens are humanoid. But it's their behavior that annoys me the most. They're all very, very boring. Every animal is just basically wandering around aimlessly. They don't interact with one another. They don't hunt or eat one another. They react to my presence, usually only with either utter indifference or by galloping away and then stopping a few meters and waiting for me to come closer again, then galloping away again. It's really not very convincing. And they don't even eat or drink or lay down on the shade. Just basic behavioral stuff. They just sort of wander. The juveniles don't romp or play or act any differently than just being scaled down versions of the big ones. It's all very, 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 very basic, and more than a bit dull once you get past the occasional thrill of finding a really cool, or indeed really hilarious looking variation. And of course, Sean Murray, being the Peter Molyneux type, has already been promising many more updates and expanding the game hugely, including doing stuff like base building. I'd like to maybe construct my own space station as a trading post and have it tick over slowly with inventory and cash flow while I explore elsewhere. I'd like to see much more variation in animal behavior, obviously. I'd like to see custom ship construction so I can build exactly what I need for my playstyle instead of just hoping to luck into a ship that suits my needs and is up for trade and or isn't damaged beyond useful repair by crashing into a planet and whatnot. Maybe I could build a shipyard and sell a bunch of ships I've designed and built from resources I collect or trade. I'd like to see many, many cool things added to the game. The basic construction here could support a brilliantly varied and endlessly interesting experience. Again, while I deride anyone who actually calls this game Minecraft in space, much like Minecraft, which has been and continues to be an interesting and variable framework for all kinds of players. No Man's Sky is far from perfect. It needs heavy patching and a lot of work on the controls and interfaces, and the red-headed stepchild treatment of the PC version is disappointing, to put it mildly. The PC should have been the definitive version of a game like this. It is where a game like this belongs, and I defy you to make a convincing argument for putting it on underpowered consoles. But I guess Sean is a man who will compromise his artistic vision for the sake of cash. That's just who Sean Murray is, apparently. No Man's Sky falls short of the hyped promises, yes, but I played it for 19 hours straight on the very first day. The only reason I even stopped at all in the end is because my keyboard hand had become a useless claw, my ass was sore from being in the chair all day, and I had a lot of important shit to get done the next day, not the least of which was pack up all my gear and suitcase and stuff for an overseas trip. So I kind of needed to sleep. I couldn't get away with playing it all through the night. I wonder how long I would have played if I didn't have to do shit the next day. Probably be still playing and you wouldn't get this video at all. No Man's Sky is, as I said, what I'd hoped it would be, or at least an encouraging foundation of what I hope it will become. Also, I am pissy about the super awesome mega screenshot thingy from NVIDIA called Ansel, which is supposed to be in this game on PC, isn't here yet. I'm not sure when we're getting it, when it's going to be patched in, how far a priority down it is on the list, I don't know, but I really want it. My inner photographer cries out for the ability to do more than basic cluttered screenshots in these environments. But yeah, that is my day one rant, review, and general impression of No Man's Sky. How are you finding it? What platform are you playing on? What do you want patched in as new functionality? When do you want it? What's your play style? What's the most annoying bug you've encountered so far? So many questions for my down below areas. Get to it, commenters. Meanwhile though, thanks for watching. I am Blunty, and I will catch you next time. Unless, of course, I'm playing No Man's Sky, in which case I probably won't make a video for 3 or 4 months.